Hi guys, just wanted to make a quick video. It's basically, I hear this term all the time, especially uh, by Pakistani authors, forums, and blogs, which I read every now and then. And it's been said for a while now. And it's this is the statement that's made fairly often, and it's one man's freedom fighter is another man's terrorist, or the other way around. One man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. Well, this is the truth. It's completely wrong. It's false. It's a lie. There's basically it doesn't work that way. Now I'll define it. So quickly, briefly, first category is a soldier. A soldier is uniform. They wear their rank insignia. They're recognizable which side they belong to. So just think about German soldier, Japanese soldier, American, British soldier, World War II. You get the picture. They're each side. The other side is an enemy combatant, right? The next category is rebel, freedom fighter, whatever you want to call. So they've always been rebellions throughout history. They've always been so-called freedom fighters. That's fine. They're both legit terms. They may not be uniformed, so they just would be in civilian dress and things, but their target will be the authority from the other side. In other words, the enemy soldiers. So they might be ununiformed fighting uniformed troops in a guerrilla operation or asymmetric operations. So basically, raids on outposts, raids on installations, raid on supplies, things like that, which is fine. A good recent example is the IRA, the Irish Republican Army, and why it's a good example is because it's well documented. It's recent. You can get a lot of information, videos. Which, quickly, brief point. There was really good journalism in those days as well. Back in the 70s and things, compared to the garbage we have now. But that's off topic. So getting back to topic. So when they conducted, so the IRA was conducting operations against stationed British troops in what they considered their territory, or the territory they're fighting over, parts of Ireland, Northern Ireland, etc. So, and in the end, they achieved it. But if you watch the movie In the Name of the Father, they see what the IRA used to do is they used to plant a bomb to destroy some sort of symbolism of the British or UK. And but what they do is they plant a bomb, then they'll call in advance and they'll say, look, we planted a bomb, and the military would rush in and clear out everybody and all that kind of thing. Bomb would go off, and they'd make their point. Then at some point, some frustrated IRA people, they basically blew up a bar, and they didn't call ahead, so a few civilians died. That's when their action became one. They moved from enemy combatant, of the category of freedom fighter or rebel, to the category of terrorist, because now the word terrorist itself is self-explanatory. Terrorism is exactly that, to terrorize. So that's how you recognize them. They're not freedom fighters. They're not rebels. They are terrorists. They blow up civilians, no warning, nothing. They kill innocent people. That's what makes them a terrorist. So they're not. You can't say one man's freedom fighter, etc. They are terrorists. They blow up markets. They blow up gatherings of religious gatherings. They blow up anything to terrorize the population, and they are trying to achieve their goals of authority and power through killing innocent people. And an example of Pakistan is it was always good terrorists, bad terrorists, and people said that. I know Pakistanis don't like to hear that. I want them peace and prosperity. It's not. I'm not saying anything but against them. But what I am saying is stop using this terminology because you're not doing justice to yourself. When there was that school attack in government military school attack in Pakistan a couple of years back, or a few years back, it really saddened the entire world. And of course, it was shocking for Pakistan itself. Over 100 innocent little kids were killed. So that was an act of terrorism. But when it goes across, and the same thing happens in India, like what happened in Mumbai, Bombay, it was freedom fighters. What goes on often in, another example is the Taliban, right? The Taliban were kind of legit, when they were trying to push the Soviets out, combined with basically various factions in Afghanistan. The world didn't agree or disagree with any particular party. They of the people who were actually, because it was a legit thing. You got invaded, you want to drive out the invaders. Nobody had an issue with that. But when the Taliban gained power, they were conjoined with ideology, and that's what made them semi-terrorists. So now I would classify as terrorists. Not freedom fighters, not rebels. When they blew up girls' schools, they were executing people in stadiums, they were hanging people, they were stoning people to death. These are not acts of people who are trying to gain freedom for their people. These are people who are, once they gain power, they're terrorizing their population. They're not building schools. They're not doing the exact opposite. They're not bringing law and order. They're bringing street justice and disgusting acts of, because they combined it with ideology. That's what they, and they were cultural icons, etc., etc. Now, if you look at another faction in Afghanistan, the Northern Alliance, I know the Pakistanis particularly hate them. I don't know why you should. The Northern Alliance itself had the leadership of Ahmad Shah Massoud. He's still revered today. People can't say a bad word about him unless you're completely kind of nuts. When he conducted his operation, he directed his soldiers to make sure, go out of their way, that there were no civilian casualties. As soon as he gained territory, he built schools. He provided, he encouraged girls to go to school. He built girls' schools in the majority because that had been destroyed. And he tried to keep the cultural heritage. He went and he spoke to the United Nations. He spoke to media directly. And everybody felt that he was a legit good person, and he was. So he's conducting his operations. He was successful. He was a great military leader, extremely successful. And guess what? He was assassinated. When he was assassinated, most likely by the ISI, even the Russians, who were his sworn enemies for many, many years, for over a decade, mourned his death. They mourned his death because they recognized him as a legit enemy combatant. That's the difference. If you can't see that difference, you really have to reflect on yourself, and you have to think that I can't use terms like one man's freedom fighter, another man's terrorist. A terrorist, by definition, is one who terrorizes, who targets civilians. They're not fighting legit combat. I mean, not that violence or law or war is good in any way, but I'm making the distinction, and I hope you understand. I hope this video hasn't bored you to death. It's almost 10 minutes long. I'll let you guys go. Everybody, look after yourself. Happy times. Please like, subscribe. My videos, the more likes you get, the more it kind of spreads, and I just want good thoughts to spread. So, thank you.